Ladies and gentlemen, happy don't need to report your crypto earnings to the IRS day for at least 2024. And that's not tax advice. We just got that news like 45 minutes ago that the IRS is delaying reporting tax revenue to them until 2025. I don't know what date, but I imagine it would be January 1st, 2025. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to kind of get started right away because I've been working on this presentation. And what I did is I put everything in there that I could possibly fit. And there's still more. But then I cut it down by as much as I dared, if that makes sense. Let's see if I can. But I'm sure I'm going to be adding some things because I want it to be like content dense, you know. Six people in here. Thanks for being here. I'm really, really amazed, humbled that you guys would show up. Really. If you're new to PTDC and UFO, you're in the right place. At least my heart is to help you get into this ecosystem and hit the ground running and not make some of the mistakes that myself and other people have made. I always just feel like I'm missing something. Like, what did I not say? What am I not including in this presentation? But I think it's good. But I've actually sent it out for some guys to look at it, and I want their feedback. And if you're watching, don't be afraid to give me feedback. Bulletproof. You know, we all hold crypto. And so, yeah, I'm bulletproof. You can hardly hurt me. Okay, let me get my screens rearranged, and then we're going to tear off and do this. That's so funny. I got to make myself tiny in order for this to work. All right, and I got to pull this tab out here. Come on, tab. Do your tab thing. I've got another one over here I can use since you're not cooperating. This is going to be a little different. Actually, this time I've made some slides. So, yeah, I think we got this arranged. If you got comments and questions, drop them in the chat. I'm going to try. I was thinking about this yesterday. What I'm going to do is actually after this one, I'm going to watch myself because this is actually my presentation for Randy's conference. This is it. And I want to do well down there in front of those guys, those people. So I'm going to have to watch it. I'm going to actually watch this one. I went through it yesterday, but I didn't record it. And this is my chance to record it. And I won't watch all of it, but just to give myself some idea of how it looks. And if you think I'm nervous to present in front of a bunch of people, this is easy compared to being live. I mean, the funny thing is, I can't even see you guys. I see 16 eyeballs, but that's it. It's just me in this empty office with 16 digital eyeballs looking at me. It's weird, man. The internet's weird. But I'm a Gen Xer, so I can have that opinion. Okay, we're going to start. If you got any questions, drop them in the chat. They won't be able to do that during the presentation. It's going to be like, ask your questions afterwards when I'm done. Right, guys. And, some of the new stuff is some slides. So let's just present slides. And somebody's working in here right now. He is what is he? Some kind of goat. And I don't know how to make this more presentable for you guys. but this would be the first slide for the presentation. Thanks to, what is his name? He's in the chat. Exploration X did that art, and I love this piece. I really love this piece of art. Yeah. Okay. Here we go, guys. Make sure this is. All right, I'm going to read it because I don't have this memorized. I'm going to read to you and ad lib as little as possible. I'm going to introduce you to the index tokens of the Pulse network: PTDC, Pulse, the Grays currency, and UFO. I promise you this won't be a waste of your time. I'm literally going to give you everything I have, and I'm keeping nothing in my back pocket. Honestly, I'm giving you everything I know. The Grays currencies were launched as groundbreaking, renounced, immutable, and deflationary cryptocurrencies, purposefully designed to generate passive income for holders, that's you, without relying on an inflating token supply. These tokens deliver the benefits of inflation without the downsides, functioning as powerful income generators. Their innovative mechanics consistently increasing both the value of the tokens and the value of the liquidity pools that sustain them. Imagine holding 2 tokens that pay you in up to 7 streams of passive income. I'm still identifying the last 2 or last one, honestly. All while your principal grows relative to the existing supply, generating you even more passive income. And every token reflected to you has been thereby removed from the market, creating scarcity. And your yield isn't generated by inflation, but from tokens already in circulation. And every holder selling their yield barely registers as a blip on the chart. Crypto Stylist, good to have you in here. We're fond of saying that people come to the Grays currencies for the X's, but stay for the APY. You see, most tokens rely on number go up for holders to take profit. And the only way to take profit is by selling principal. But PTDC and UFO are different. You don't need to sell principal to take profit. Instead, you can simply exit through yield, preserving the value of your principal while it continues to increase in value. You can literally earn yield the ways I'll describe to you, sell that yield, be in profit, and own a larger portion of the supply, thereby garnering you even more yield. Are you intrigued? Let's dive in to these 2 groundbreaking tokens that are redefining decentralized finance. But first, we're going to talk about fee-based tokens. Hey, Ayok, good to have you in here, man. Good to see you. I know taxes and fees sound terrible. Well, what if I told you, Crypto Stylist, I'm sure you saw the news about the taxes. If you haven't, go to my Twitter. It's big news. I should have DM'd you. Sorry. PTDC and UFO use these fees to directly benefit you. They're like the engines of the system, constantly driving growth and giving back to holders. All right, guys, what's one? Can you guys answer me in the chat real quickly? What is one thing we can count on in crypto? Answer me if you can. If you can get to your keyboard fast enough. What is one thing we can count on in crypto? What is crypto famous for? 5, 4, 3, 2. It starts with a V. 1. Enter. Bingo, Crypto Stylist. You get the brownie button. Volatility. Volatility is the one thing we can count on in crypto, and the Grays currency have turned volatility into an advantage for users and the ecosystem. By leveraging the natural cycles of the Pulse chain network, these tokens create a substantial rewarding system. Imbalances in paired tokens trigger arbitrage, driving value creation, rewarding users, and strengthening the ecosystem. In fact, an estimated 80% of transaction volume comes from arbitrage. And I got somebody that's fact checking that. And this arbitrage happens around the clock, building liquidity pools, burning tokens, and rewarding users. The secret to the Grays currency's success lies in their meticulously crafted liquidity webs, built strategically while Pulse was still below its sacrifice rate, and it still is. By acquiring assets like Pulse, Pulse X, Hex, and Inc. at bargain prices, the Gray's currencies function as an index of the top performing assets on the Pulse chain network, with a special focus on RH tickers. Warren Buffett wisely said, "In my view, for most people, the best thing to do is to own this S&P 500 index fund." Well, PTDC and UFO bring that same principle to life on Pulse Chain, offering users diversified exposure to an array of carefully chosen tokens. All right, guys, let me see. I'm working on my slide deck here. Show slide of our LPs. Yeah, okay, we're gonna flip over to secretobank.com. If you guys haven't seen this, look at secretobank.com and you can see our LPs. There they are. That is PTDC, PTDC's LPs, and UFO's LPs are here. secretobank.com. Now, I want to take a few minutes to describe to you why it's important that we bonded with these key assets. We're all familiar with Hart's Law, which states that tokens bonded in liquidity will move together. I want you to picture the Gray's currencies as a rock being tethered by two balloons, by balloons. The balloons are Pulse, Pulse X, Hex, and Inc. As these balloons inflate and deflate, they thereby raise and lower the Gray's currencies. Let's cover a few distinctions between the two assets. How do I get back to my presentation here? There we go. PTDC operates with a 5% fee on all buys, sells, and transfers of tokens. Importantly, none of the fees go to developer wallets. Instead, the fees are allocated to specific functions that support the Gray's currency ecosystem. This system ensures that short-term holders and traders contribute to the protocol's long-term stability and value while rewarding committed long-term holders. Here's how the fees are distributed. You see the screen? 2% goes to the DAO Treasury wallet to increase the value of PTDC. 1% is distributed to stakers. We estimate stakers earn about 130% more than holders. 1% is distributed to both holders and stakers. 0.5% is used to buy and burn PTDC. 0.5% is added to the PTDC PLS liquidity pool on PulseX V1 and locked forever. Let's have a look at the holding and staking APY for December. We're not done with January yet. PTDC's APY for December 2024, staking was 2.9%, holding 3.8%. Do I have that backwards? I wonder if I have that backwards. Oh, let me check. I've got to check, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to interrupt this. I got to fact check. Staking 2.9% for December. Let's go to the spreadsheet where I got that. That is, I don't like to publish incorrect information, and that's going to bother me. Staking, let's just do December. Thanks for being patient, everybody. Average 2.9%. 2.9% for staking. Let's go back here and see. Yes, 2.9% for staking. I got to find out why. Why is staking? Bear with me while I make a note. And if this should be obvious to me, it's just because I'm streaming and I can't think right now. Okay. Okay, that'll do. There are three ways to earn with PTDC: holding, staking, and locking. Your PTDC tokens earn what are called reflections, proportional to your share of the supply. You'll see these reflections accumulating in your wallet immediately, kind of like magic, and they'll never stop as long as Pulse Chain is alive. The second way to earn with PTDC is by staking your tokens. It's a feature I absolutely love and consider it a no-brainer. Why? Because there are no time constraints. Stake tokens still earn reflections, and having liquid yield to play with lets you scratch the proverbial I got to interact with the contract today, itch. Because there's always yield that you can compound back into your principal. You can start a stake and end that stake at any time. You can even end as little or as much of a stake as you want, which I didn't know until a few weeks ago. And I'm like, that is totally cool. Just imagine that, well, just be aware that there's a modest 1% fee on the principal when you do end your stake, which is distributed to the other stakers. It's worth noting that your staked principal remains in your custody, visible in your wallet, but it's just not transferable until you end your stake. Reflections and staking rewards are based on dollar value. Now listen, this is interesting. We're going to get into the difference between reflections and staking rewards and locking rewards, which we're going to cover next. Reflections and staking rewards are based on dollar value, not token quantity. As the value of the greatest currencies fluctuates, the number of reward tokens for each transaction will change, but the dollar value of the tokens you've already earned will grow. For example, if you earned 1,000 PTDC tokens 6 months ago at a 10% APY, a 100x price increase makes that APY look even more appealing. And if you recycle those tokens, well, the potential becomes even greater, obviously. Let's have a look at the locking tiers, shall we? Here are the locking tiers. We're going to talk about locking next. The third way to earn with PTDC is by locking your tokens. And by the way, locked tokens continue to earn both reflection rewards and staking rewards. So there's 3 ways that you can earn with PTDC right there. Hold it to earn reflections, stake it to earn staking rewards, 130% over. I'm so embarrassed. I got to find out why. Over just holding, and then locking. 3 ways. Locked tokens can continue to earn both reflection rewards and staking rewards. It's important to note that in order to lock your tokens, they just got to be staked first. They can be locked from 90 days to 10 years. The 90-day locks, so long as you intend to hold PTDC for that long, is an easy yes for me. Unlike staking, though, you can't unlock just a portion. Locking has a unique advantage. When other lockers early end lock, or EEL, they incur a 30% penalty, and these forfeited tokens are distributed among the remaining lockers. While locking may currently offer lower returns compared to the other PTDC holding strategies at current price levels, it has the potential to become significantly more rewarding under the right conditions, and here's why. Unlike reflections and staking rewards that are directly correlated to price, locking rewards are based on your share of penalty tokens from early unlocks, regardless of their price. This makes locking a uniquely compelling long-term strategy with substantial upside potential in the right market conditions. And if you have any questions about that, actually, I need to put this whole presentation in a link in the description of the video. So I will do that so you guys can use it. Link press in description. Locking also adds a third distinct revenue stream to PTDC, complementing reflections and staking. It's a strategy for those who believe in the long-term potential of the ecosystem and are willing to commit for greater rewards, much like we do with our HEX. Let's see. When deciding to lock your PTDC, here are some key things to keep in mind. You could be in such profit that 30% EEL penalty could be worthwhile. It could be. I imagine it will be. It already is for some of my locks, or the way I had them before. Locking keeps your dirty little hands off your tokens. Locking strengthens the ecosystem. The longer locks are, the more they add price stability, while shorter locks include burn mechanics that reduce supply. We have reason to believe that users will be tempted to early end lock during up cycles because we've seen it happen before. Have a look at some locking strategies. Locking ideas. Let's answer Ayak's question. Am I able to set my locking period to the T? because I would want to set up 4 different locking periods, 1, 2, 3, 4-year unlocks. You can set your locking period up to the T, IOC. And I recommend it just have to be anywhere between 90 days and 365 times 10, which is 3,650 days. Use timeanddate.com if you want to count the number of days to a certain date, or however you want to use timeanddate.com. I used it just the other day. Came in real handy. Here are some locking ideas, guys. This one's a banger. I got to show this. Let me remove IOC. Instead of locking one large bag, divide your PTDC into portions so that if you do decide to emergency end lock, the penalty will be less than 30%. I like the word decide better. Create a locking ladder. Lock some for 10 years and allocate the rest in annual locks to create a ladder. That's what I've done. I locked 88% for 10 years, actually 1 day beyond 9 years. And I locked 8% in a locking ladder, an 8-year locking ladder, and then 4% in a 90-day lock. And I just did that this week. Take advantage of the next tier's benefits. If you lock even 1 day into the next higher tier, you will earn rewards from that tier. You might want to lock a couple days, unlike I did. I'm a little nervous now whether I'm gonna, I need to test my lock. Whether I locked it on the proper day. I did go 1 day beyond, but what if moon math is in the calculator? I mean, moon math. I think moon math is in the contract. What if what do they call it when you skip a year? What if leap year is in the smart contract? I don't think that it is, but what if it is? Well, I probably got wrecked because I can't unlock my locks to fix it. You know what I mean? You're welcome, Ayok. There you have it. There's no penalty for leaving a lock beyond the set term. To catch that, there is no penalty for leaving it set beyond the set term. And you continue to earn reflections, staking, and locking rewards, even though that lock is matured, which is pretty cool. Here's a chart. Here's a chart I put together that highlights the total locking rewards for different ratios. Check this out, guys. I built this for you guys. You can use this as a guide in your own locking decision. Okay, let's look at the top, middle, and the bottom row. And this is 10-year lock PTDC allocation, 90%. I'm taking 90% of my bag and I'm locking it for 10 years. Then I'm going to do the rest in an annual ladder, 10% to an annual ladder. That garners you 97.75% of all the locking rewards that your bag could own. The biggest locking rewards that you could get obviously would be 100%. I should actually make that 100%. There should be 100% there, and that would be 100% rewards. I'm going to fix that. I'll just remember. 50%. If you did 50 and 50, well, your total rewards would be 88.75. Still pretty juicy, right? Now, if you allocated 0 to a 10-year lock and 100% in a ladder, you would garner 77.5%. I was very impressed when I built this with the amount of rewards that you can get for even doing a 10-year ladder. I was impressed. And so there you have it, guys. I hope you find that helpful. Ayok wants to retain his millionaire status and Pulse Chain for all my tokens. There you go, man. May you accomplish that. Now let's take a look at UFO, its fees, and the various ways you can generate passive income with it. Here's UFO. Here's the UFO fee revenue distribution. 3% is paid to LP providers in Pulse. 1% is paid to holders in UFO. 1% is used to buy and burn UFO. 1% is used to buy and burn PTDC. Worth noting is that UFO has been burning about 2.5%. 2.5x more PTDC than PTDC itself. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that is interesting. Now, let's look at the APY. Now, UFO doesn't have the staking capability that PTDC has, but it does offer investors its own 4 ways of earning passive income. Holding to earn reflections, providing liquidity with either of these tokens, Pulse, PulseX, Inc., Hex, eHex, or PDI, your standard DEX fees, and farming rewards. And you can see here that we're earning about 2.7% for holding and 9% for LP'ing. Now, I want to show you guys the DApp. We really should. You know, I got to show the DApp. I got to show the DApp before. Hold on. I'm making notes. You know, I'm building this, right, guys? Have I made that clear? I'm building this presentation. So I'm taking notes while I'm doing it, because that's the, I mean, I didn't even notice. I ran through this whole thing by myself yesterday. I didn't notice that I hadn't shown the Gray's PTDC DApp, and I need to do that. That's kind of important, I'd say. The tax on UFO helps me sleep at night. Oh yeah, man. Here is the PTDC DApp, and you can see the global stats up here, and this wallet stats right here. Total, and this is a test wallet that I have with 1 million PTDC staked and locked. So, and it's been there since February 10th. It has earned 3,000 PTDC from locking. It has earned how much for staking? Almost 12,000 for staking and 14,000 for holding. That's interesting. That is very interesting. I'm going to get to the bottom of that, man. So this is where you go. So as soon as you have PTDC in your wallet, you connect your wallet to pulsetgc.com or any other DApp we may have in the future and stake it. You click on stake, select how much you want to stake, and then you're, validate it in your wallet, and then your PTDC will be staked. At that point, then you can lock it if you wish. Just make sure you're very deliberate and careful when you decide to lock, because it's a big commitment, and it's a large penalty if you were to emergency unlock. Okay. Now what do we have? Let's go over the UFO DApp, because that was the next step. Appreciate you guys being here and bearing with this presentation, as hiccupy as it might be. Here, let's go back. Let me go back. If you hold UFO and you're earning reflections, you're like, hey, I want to take a little bit of this in LP because I've got some hex tokens over here that aren't doing anything except for appreciating, and I want to LP with my UFO and earn those and get those precious, what do you call them? UFO shares. We'll talk about that. Well, you would come here, click on liquidity pools, and click on UFO hex, manage pool, add liquidity, and bam, you would put however much UFO you have, and you need to have an equal amount of hex on the other side. So you just fill those numbers in. Say you had 123 UFO and 123 hex. Well, you see that it didn't work out, but they're going to be value. They're going to be paired by value, not quantity. And then you would just add new liquidity, and bam, you'd have an LP pool, which is pretty sweet. And at that point, you will immediately start earning Pulse rewards. So if you want to see that, you come over here and click on UFO PLP rewards, and you'll see rewards here. This is another test of the 1 million Pulse in an LP, and it has earned 19,000 Pulse. And 19,000 Pulse, and then 31,000 UFO. You see, it'd be interesting to compare the value of those two. I'd really like to do that, because it should match what I have in my records. Give me a second, guys. I'm telling you, so much comes to mind when I'm actually live versus when I'm just doing this by myself. LP and reflections. It's amazing. But the bummer is it interrupts. And I want to get through this for you guys' sake. Okay. Some key things to note about UFO. UFO is designed to unite Richard Hart tokens and the Gray's currency tokens. It acts as a catalyst for increased arbitrage activity and volume. It uses the same technology as PTDC, leveraging arbitrage to capture and circulate fees within the system. Think of UFO as an expansion pack for PTDC, built with similar deflationary principles. It broadens the Gray's footprint on Pulse Chain through liquidity pools paired with high volume tokens. As UFO's liquidity grows, its presence spreads across the Pulse network, boosting transactional volume. UFO serves as the pacemaker driving the PTDC ecosystem's pulse. And here are some key things to note about UFO. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I don't have a slide for that. Let's go back to this. I don't want to get ahead of myself on the slides. Only LP from our dApp, or you will forfeit LP rewards. In other words, we're built on the back end of the dApp is PulseX. And if you bypass our dApp and LP from PulseX, you're going to forfeit your rewards. Yes, you will have an LP position, but you're going to bypass our system. So if you're going to do this, if you're going to LP UFO with Hex, for example, and you want those rewards, you need to do it on our dApp. UFO tokens that are in LP positions don't earn reflections. So what does that mean for people that are holding UFO for the reflections? They get more reflections. What many users do is LP some and hold the rest. That's what I'm personally doing. You can LP any token listed on our dApp. They all share the same rewards. It's even across the board. There is one token that is not whitelisted to pay the tax going into an LP position. Anybody want to guess what that token is? It's PTDC, because UFO came out after PTDC had been around for 6 months or so. So if you LP UFO and PTDC, you are going to pay 5% tax on PTDC, 6% tax on UFO, 11% total. I am not LPing PTDC and UFO. The key difference between LPing or holding UFO lies in what you earn. When you LP UFO, you earn Pulse, which has a history of being outperformed by UFO. On the other hand, simply holding UFO earns you more UFO. Happy New Year, Trev. Good to have you here. And let's have a look at the APY for holding UFO. We got it. I need to work on my graphics here. I thought I had these in order, but I must have rearranged things. You might have heard about UFO shares, which represent the amount of UFO you contribute to a liquidity pool. I want to show this to you guys. Give me 1 second because I have it pulled up. UFO shares right here. What do you think that number represents? It represents the number of UFO that was input into this. Let me show my screen, into this LP pool. You got it. UFO shares represent the amount of UFO you contribute to a liquidity pool. In simple terms, one UFO equals one share. As the value of RH tickers and UFO increases, the cost to acquire UFO shares rises as well. I mean, imagine you get a quantity of UFO today for $10 and Hex for $10. That's a $20 LP pool. If each of those tokens doubles, that LP is going to cost now $40. When you create an LP through the dApp, the amount of UFO you add at the time determines your UFO shares. The cost of your shares is the value of the UFO you contribute, plus the value of the other token in the pair. If that makes sense. Here's the key point. Even if you experience impermanent loss, this is why I love UFO shares. Even if you experience impermanent loss, your UFO shares remain constant. The more UFO shares you hold, the larger your share of the Pulse rewards distributed to LP providers. This makes early participation in LP creation particularly rewarding. So everybody that's here early has an opportunity to get in on those LP rewards by getting your UFO shares in place, locked in right now. Let's cover the Dow. I'm going to touch briefly on it. Does anyone know what a Dow? Does anyone not know what a Dow is? It stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. It's an organization governed by smart contracts and decisions made by its members, you and I, stakers, through a transparent and democratic voting process without the need for a central authority. PTDC was the first DAO on the Pulse network, and voting power is determined by the number of tokens staked. All stakers can vote, and the top 100 can submit proposals. The DAO is a key driver of sustainable growth, keeping PTDC agile and responsive to market changes. Think of it like a ship navigating the sea rather than a train bound to a fixed track. So that the DAO allows PTDC to navigate like this through market conditions versus being stuck on a rail like a train is. We're nearly done, guys. Nearly done. What sets the Grays currencies apart from other fee-based tokens is their unique combination of DAO governance, staking, locking, and earning, while LP'ing, alongside Liquidity Web's valued at over $30 million today. The DAO has enabled the community to strategically acquire significant amounts of Pulse, PulseX, Hex, Inc., and other assets, taking advantage of price opportunities at the bottom of Pulse chain that may never be available again. As the prices of these assets rise, they are contributing to the creation of massive liquidity webs. For example, the Pulse pool alone is worth $3 million today. If Pulse were to 100x, the value of that pool would soar to $3 billion. In such a scenario, arbitrageurs would need to move 100 times more value, bringing more value to holders. Together, these liquidity webs, empowered by strategic governance and innovative tokenomics, have solidified PTDC and UFO as the index tokens of the Pulse chain network. Everybody doing good so far? Thanks so much, Trev. I appreciate your comment. Danny Ortiz, I recognize you from somewhere. Happy New Year. I think I recognize you from Twitter, perhaps. All right, guys. So you bought PTDC, you staked it, you locked it, and you even hold some UFO, and you're LPing some. Congratulations. You're now earning 7 streams of income every single day. That's fantastic. But you might be wondering, what can I do with this passive income? I'm glad you asked. You essentially have 3 options. Let me get back to my slides. Let's see if you need instant liquidity, you can sell your earnings anytime. You could simply let your earnings accumulate and grow your holdings over time and then buy something nice for you and your wife. That's a nice idea. Or you can compound your rewards back into your principal so you can earn even more rewards. Another good idea. It's totally up to you and your individual investing priorities and desires. I'm going to rattle off a list, guys, of what PTDC and UFO are to me. And it's shorter than it used to be. But bear with me and hear me out. What is PTDC and UFO to me? Hyperdeflationary. 11.6% of PTDC and 7.4% of UFO have already burned. They're so autonomous, we technically don't even need users for price appreciation. When Pulse or any RH ticker runs, the Grays run even harder. There are only 10,000 PTDC wallets and 6,000 UFO wallets. 2,300 wallets hold $1,000 or more of PTDC. 1,200 wallets hold $1,000 or more UFO. There are no founder allocations. These tokens are the golden goose of crypto. They're the needle in the haystack because they're the proverbial easy button. PTDC and UFO are like a Lambo revving its engine. We haven't even dropped the clutch yet. They offer a combined 7 streams of income. PTDC has over $17 million in burned LP. They have a combined $30 million in LP. The founder is engaged with the community, benevolent, and semi-doxed. Every reward is backed by value in LP. These tokens thrive in a volatile environment. They're like cash flowing Miami beachfront property, but with zero overhead. The supply is continuously reduced with every transaction, whether initiated by a bot, buyer, or seller. They're paired with the most promising tokens on the Pulse network. Now, I live in a small town near an interstate highway. Occasionally, a big rig ends up in the local wrecking yard. If the cargo on board is valuable but destined for the landfill, word spreads and people come to grab free goods. Over time, we've had frozen beef, cherries, and most recently, pistachios. I managed to snag 6 cases of pistachios. And this bag here represents my PTDC and UFO principle. Now, while the townspeople eat their pistachios, reducing the overall supply, I've chosen to hold on to mine as others consume theirs, literally. My portion of the total supply of pistachios becomes larger, more rare, and more valuable as time goes on, just like my PTDC and UFO. But here's where PTDC and UFO are even better than holding a single bag of pistachios. They pay me every single day. As long as I continue to hold them, my position grows relative to the total supply, paying me even more yield. You hear that? That's the yield coming into my wallet for holding PTDC and UFO. And I'll translate the sound. It's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So just like my untouched bag of pistachios, as long as I don't reduce my principal, I can keep eating off the daily yield they provide. I know. You might be thinking, PTDC and UFO have already done a combined thousands of X's. Haven't I missed by chance? Let me read to you a letter written by one of our community members, Shaka Vibes. Hey, John, you're late. It's okay. We do this twice a week. I know. Okay. Here's the letter, guys. If you feel like you missed your chance, let me reassure you, PTDC and UFO are rare tokens where being late to the party might actually work in your favor. I found this interesting. These projects stand out not due to height, but because of their unique mechanics. At their core is a growing liquidity web, innovative tokenomics, and transaction fees that directly benefit holders. Every transaction, even on pairs that are one away from pairs bonded directly to PTDC or UFO, triggers arbitrage, generating fees that are reinvested back into both the holders and the project. As the LP web grows, these mechanisms become more efficient and the system becomes more optimized than when early adopters first joined. Let's have a look at some slides. Let's do some moon math, shall we? I want to look at the fee allocation first. Happy New Year, SC. Let's look at the dashboard. Look into ptdc.com. The link is in the description of this video. Here is PTDC, and this is a paid for site. It also has free stuff. It's $22 a month to have access to some of these tabs up here. I really like it. I like the site. And here's a free tab, dashboard. Here's PTDC at the top. And we'll scroll down. We can see the current price, volume, good volume today, liquidity, $11.5 million, circulating supply, Pulse. Here's the ratio actually with Pulse, number of transactions, number of X's to a penny. We're only 28X away from a penny, guys. And then this is what I brought you guys here to show you the fees collected from volume, $16,500. And here's how it was allocated. So in the last 24 hours, $16,500 was brought into the system from the fee, the 5% fee. $1,600 burned PTDC, $1,600 was added to liquidity. $6,600 was sent to the Dow Treasury to do beneficial things for the system. $3,300 was sent to holder reflections. Thank you very much. $3,300 was sent to staker reflections. Thank you very much. And by the way, there was a big unlock today. So everybody got rewarded. Everybody that had their tokens locked got rewarded pretty substantially. Here are UFO metrics. Price, volume, liquidity, all that. 239x is away from a penny. And here are the fee allocations for the last 24 hours. $8,500. 4,000 go into LP providers. I'm one of those. 1,400 bought and burned UFO. 1,400 went to UFO holders. And $1,400 bought and burned PTDC. So you see the difference there? UFO spent $1,400 to buy and burn PTDC, and how much did PTDC spend? $1,600. So it's flipped today. I have, on a rare day, it goes negative where PTDC actually burns more. This might end up being one of those days. We have seen UFO burn nearly 10x more than PTDC, which just stuns me. All right, let's look at some moon math. Yeah, you did hear heat. Cool. You heard there was a big unlock. You're curious to see what big is to you? I can show you. We'll deviate for the class here. Let's go to, and I don't know why it took me so long to start tracking unlock rewards. I just was not even paying attention until like last week. I'm embarrassed to admit that. Let's look at it. Oh, I don't have it in front of me. Because 32. Okay, I can type it in here. 3267. 3267. Big unlock was, okay, you see these previous days? Here is each day, each row represents a day. And I just write down exactly what the locking yield is in that test wallet right here every day. And if there is any, it does the math for me and shows me how much the reward was. So this is what I recorded this morning before this big unlock. So I'm going to show you what big unlock is to me. It's going to be 3267 minus 3048. It's going to be, so instead of 0.009 for today, tomorrow it's going to be 219. So it's going to be my largest day on record for the past 8 days. But yeah, that's a big unlock to me. I'm happy with that. Everybody that holds that is locking is probably pretty happy right now. Let's do some moon math, shall we? PTDC PLS. What we're going to do is we're going to see how much PTGC should be worth when PLS does 100x. And we're going to do an X factor of, we're going to keep it modest, and we're a little less than modest. We're going to do an X factor of 5, because I think that PTDC has actually done more like an X factor of 13, but we're going to keep it at 5. Calculate. And X factor is just how much PTDC has moved up against PLS. Okay, what do we got here? We would have a final PTDC price of 17 cents, which is a 500x. 500x. If Pulse does a 100x, and we have an X factor of 5. And if we have an X factor of 2, it would be 200x, or a 7-cent PTDC. You guys follow the math on that? It's pretty simple. What about Pulse? There are a lot of UFO-ians in here. And I want to keep Pulse at 100x. Calculate 500x. It's going to be a 2-cent. That would be a 2-cent UFO. Yeah, man. Guys, let's go to the reflections. I can't show you the staking as much as I would like to. Let me make sure I'm on track here. PTDC, we're going to go into experimental mode. We're going to show how much you could potentially earn by holding PTDC and UFO based on volume. Okay. And right now the volume is in the hundreds of thousands. I think we are eventually going to be in the millions. Hopefully, well, I'm hoping that Crypto Kong that built this site is going to have to increase this beyond 50 million. For these demonstrations, I'm setting it at 25 million, the volume at 25 million. I think that's attainable. I don't know how sustainable it is, but I'm hoping it is sustainable. We're going to set the volume at 25 million. What would this bag of PTDC earn? Well, the guy's a shark. This wallet, this test wallet, he's a shark. His annual returns and reflections only would be 120%. And if you counted staking rewards in there, it'd be more than double. So probably 250% in annual rewards and APY. So he is a shark. He holds 1.22 billion PTDC. Congratulations. Valued at $390,000 today. His monthly yield at $25 million in volume would be $38,000, reflections only. Double plus more that for staking rewards. So an annual 400, he'd be over $1 million in annual yield, but you'd have to sustain that $25 million or have an average of $25 million for a year for that to happen. I think it's possible. Let's go down to some of the smaller tiers, and you can just reduce it by 10. But just to keep it simple, a dolphin position, which is $10,000 worth of PTDC right now, or 30 million tokens, would earn $920, reflections only. Squid position, divide that by 10, $1,000 worth right now would make $92. At $25 million in volume, it would make $92, reflections only. There you go, Paul. Let's look at UFO. The UFO, for whatever reason, we're going to be playing golf at Trump's course this year. Let's do it. L1s usually do 100x or more their first cycle. Yes, we talked about that on Spaces last week. They do like 646x the first cycle. So, good grief. Let's go back to that. Let's see what happened. We'll come back to UFO. I got to log in real quick. How are we doing on time? We're under an hour. So we're on the moon math. PTDC. Let's see what it would do at 646x. I think we're going to do more than 100x. That's just my opinion. We'll keep it at 2. That'd be a 45-cent PTDC. There you go, Paul. How about that? That should make everyone pretty excited. Was that a 45-cent PTDC? Good night in the morning. Let's look at UFO. Experimental mode. I think this thing should not log me off when I'm using it. Can somebody reach out to Kong for me? Let's set the volume at $25 million. And let's see what this guy has in his wallet. Ooh, 320% APY. And this, remember, this is holding APY. This is not, there's no way to stake UFO. And this doesn't include LP APY. And I hope he's working on that. But this guy is a shark. So he has 1.16 billion UFO. Congratulations, dude. His monthly yield would be $13,000. Yo, $13,000 for $500 million UFO at $25 million in volume. Yeah, man. You're talking my language, man. All right, let's see what the dolphin and squid positions look like. That would be $1,000 a month for a $4,000 bag. And divide that by 10 for a squid. $100 a month for a $400 bag right now. I like to set this to 50 sometimes and see what we get. 640% APY. Now let's go back to, and if I'm right here, your monthly would be $2,000 for a $4,000 bag. Monthly. Oh, that's right. All right, let me go back. Let me go back to 25,000. I want to show you guys something. I was misthinking or Mr. Not thinking here. Dolphin and squid. This is what I find interesting. $4,000 bag garnering $13,000 in a year. Yeah, man, I'm all over that. Who wouldn't be? But you got to sustain $25 million or average $25 million for a whole year. Amazing things happen in crypto every single day. Every day. Well, every cycle and every day. I want to read to you a letter from the founder. PTDC and UFO serve as performance amplifiers for the Pulse Chain network. And we're almost done, guys. Imagine the entire liquidity web filled with Pulse, PulseX, Hacks, Inc., UFO, and all the top blue chip assets, meme coins, and promising narratives on the blockchain. As new assets prove their worth, they can be added to the ever-growing web, creating a dynamic and expanding ecosystem. Now, applying PTDC and UFO mechanics, both projects generate revenue from transaction fees, arbitrage. These fees are funneled back into the ecosystem, benefiting holders. With PTDC's cap supply and UFO's innovative design, this revenue is forced to fit into fewer tokens every time, making them hyperdeflationary. This means the price floor for both PTDC and UFO is mathematically pushed higher, continually amplified by automatic buy and burn mechanisms, automatic liquidity pool additions, and yield payments to holders, constantly reducing supply on the market. This process is self-sustaining and mutually reinforcing. Both PTDC and UFO are reflexive in nature with their LP pairs. When Pulse, PulseX, Hacks, Inc., UFO, and other top assets perform, PTDC and UFO benefit from those price movements, realizing the same gains because of their connection to the PulseX LP. This is known as the X multiplier, where the performance of Pulse Chain's core assets drives the value of both tokens. To date, 11.6% of PTDC's supply, worth approximately $15 million, has been bought and burned, creating a deflationary force that benefits holders and strengthens the project. The Pulse used to buy these tokens was distributed to PTDC holders, adding to the overall value and scarcity. Both projects are designed to deliver fair, stable, and non-inflationary yields to holders, fueled by network activity, not inflation. This makes PTDC and UFO a true bet on Pulse Chain. For those who understand what Richard Hart has built, the grays are an absolute game changer. It's where math, mechanics, and money converge into an unstoppable force. With PTDC and UFO, you own some of the best assets on chain, all with these two tokens. These tokens generate sustainable liquid yield while constantly driving the price floor higher over time and creating millions of dollars in outside revenue, which is returned to holders. They are complete, transparent, and immutable. Fully audited, renounced, and protocol-owned liquidity ensures their flawless operation and security. These tokens are built for self-custody, giving you control over your assets. Richard Hart said, there are two ways to pump a token to the moon: create deflation and create demand. PTDC and UFO are both deflationary, and the bots are driving the demand. Doesn't seem real, does it? Yeah, it doesn't seem real. I want to share a screen with you. One final screen, guys. We're going to look at the PTDC chart. How's it doing today? I think we're getting a little pump from, I got to reset this chart view. Getting a little pump from the news, the SEC news, the IRS news. All right, let me get this chart ready for you guys. I love this chart, man. Let's look at on Just a second. I'll show it to you. Just a second. Hold on, guys. All right. That is the PTDC chart on the weekly in terms of pulse. Look how well PTDC has performed against pulse. We'll skip the first month. 19. Is that 190,000%? There's no way. 190,000%. Well, let's cut that in half, make that 90,000%. 90,000% up against the network token. What do you think? And the network token, by the way, is what? 50% of SAC rate right now. What do you think is going to happen? If we can depend on this history going forward, and this is 14 months of history, what do you think is going to happen when Pulse starts making its move? I think it's written on the wall what's going to happen. PTDC, and by the way, the UFO chart looks just the same. PTDC and UFO are going to absolutely blow our socks off. And if you're here, and because you're here, congratulations. Are there any final questions? Any final questions? I've got some notes. We'll do this better next time. And I thank you guys for being here. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Prairie Banana, @PrairieBanana. And guys, if you got any questions, there's also a link to the Telegram in the description of this video. You can jump in there and ask any questions. And if you got like a serious question, I'll open it up for you guys to PM me if you want. Polygon says, hey, Prairie, apologies if you've covered this already, but how often is it feasible to claim Pulse rewards from LP to restake? Anytime you want. Anytime you want. Oddly, we've had 2 days in the last week where there were no rewards. And don't get worried where there ain't no rewards, because all that's happening is the contract is waiting until there's enough rewards to make it worthwhile in gas costs before it's going to trigger and send them all to all the wallets, because it costs money. So yeah, 2 times in the past 10 days, and I'd never seen that before. And I think it's just because the volume was slow. But yeah, you can claim those Pulse rewards anytime. You can claim your UFO tokens come into your wallet automatically. You can claim your PTDC and staking rewards and your lock-in rewards anytime you want. And you can do anything you want with them. Just bear in mind that if you send them to another wallet, to an exchange, or you probably wouldn't send them to an exchange. If you send them to another wallet, you're going to pay a 5% tax. 5%, So you might just want to let those appreciate, right? Guys, thank you so much for showing up. And if you got any questions, you can PM me, jump into Telegram, ask questions there. And have a great day. We'll do this again on Sunday. So if you know somebody is interested, jump in on Sunday. Oh, one last thing, guys. My buddy Elijah told me I need to do this, and that is, give me a second. I'm supposed to show the schedule. Here's the schedule. Hayden, the founder, had a voice chat this morning, which is Thursday. There are new events scheduled on Friday. This would normally be on Wednesday, this AMA, but we had a holiday yesterday. Saturday, Spaces. Join us on Spaces, guys. 7 a.m. Pacific. All right. Prairie Banana, over and out. Have a good day, guys.